Do you really think she wants flowers? No, she wants fire. She's not asking you to be strong. She summons it, not with words, but with silence, with the way she suddenly pulls back her warmth, or the way her eyes, once oceans, now look like mirrors, cold, flat, reflective. It's not rejection, it's initiation. And if you think this is just about her moods, you've already missed the point. Most men don't even see the test. They think it's confusion. So they start apologizing for things they didn't do, for air they didn't breathe. They beg for affection they haven't earned. They drown in emotions that were never theirs to begin with. They don't rise. They regress. They become boys again. And that's when it ends. She was never testing your kindness. She was testing your spine. Carl Jung understood this long before alpha was trending on social media and masculinity got treated like a crime scene. He knew that women, at the level of myth, don't ask a man to be a man. They evoke it. Not by handing you a map, but by drawing you into chaos, into contradiction, into complexity. Because it's only through the anima, the feminine within a man, that his wholeness can be revealed or destroyed. So when she grows distant without a reason, when her voice turns sharp with no warning, when she looks at you like she knows something you don't, she does. She's pressing against your world, testing it, looking for cracks, watching, not to see if you push back, but to see if you disappear. And here's the part most men miss. You don't pass this test with logic. You pass it by not flinching, by standing there, fully present when she becomes the riddle, and not trying to solve her, because she's not a puzzle. She's a force. And if you need her to make sense before you can stand your ground, you're not a man. You're a glorified accountant of emotion. You're keeping score in a game written in a language you never cared to learn. Jung warned us, the greatest danger to a man is to be possessed by the unconscious, by what he hasn't named but still controls him. And no figure possesses a man more than the undigested feminine inside him. The emotional chaos he outsourced to women because he never learned to hold it himself. That's why you panic when she pulls away. Why her mood feels like a life or death signal to your nervous system. Why you obsess over her approval. It's not about her, it's about you. You never face the woman inside you, and now you project her onto every woman you meet, hoping she'll give you the thing you won't give yourself. Containment. Not control, not suppression, containment. The divine masculine doesn't destroy chaos. He holds it without flinching, without fixing, without running. When a woman tests you, she's not asking, "Are you nice?" She's asking without words, "Can you hold me without collapsing?" And if you can't, she'll devour you without even meaning to. Because feminine energy isn't polite. It isn't reasonable. It's wild. It's initiatory. It drags you into the underworld, not to destroy you, but to burn away everything fake, everything pretending, everything weak. So when she challenges you, doubts you, withdraws from you, don't respond like a child abandoned. Respond like a sovereign, with presence, with depth. Not to make her happy, but to show her something no boy ever did, that you're still there. Because she doesn't want a man who chases her love. She wants a man who anchors his own. Because if you don't become the fire, you'll always beg to be warmed by hers. And brother, that is the most humiliating death of all. It starts subtly. You don't even notice it. She asks why you didn't call, why you're distracted, why you don't talk the same. But she's not looking for explanations. She's watching your posture. Do you shrink? Do you start apologizing for nothing? Do you turn into a man who assumes guilt because her tone changed? That's the test. And no, it's not manipulation. It's biological intelligence. Jung called it individuation, the lifelong task of becoming whole. And for a man, that journey always involves confronting the feminine, not as fantasy, as force. The woman in front of you? She's not just her. She's the projection of the feminine within your psyche, your anima. That mysterious shifting image of the feminine that haunts your dreams, your desires, your heartbreaks. And she doesn't care about your work stress. She doesn't care about your 5-point communication plan. She cares about one thing. Can you be unmoved when everything around you demands movement? Because if you can't, you're not strong. You're adaptable. And there's nothing more dangerous than mistaking adaptability for power. A man who adapts to every sigh, every tear, every look. He becomes elastic, stretchable, forgettable. He doesn't break, he dissolves. Until one day she looks at him, and just doesn't feel him anymore. Not because he left, but because he disappeared into her. Jung said that a man who doesn't integrate the feminine becomes possessed by her. And possession doesn't mean exorcisms. It means obsession. You orbit her mood instead of your mission. Her smile becomes your sun. Her disappointment becomes your grave. You're a man split in two, postured on the outside, panicked on the inside, saying all the right things, smiling at the right moments. But your eyes twitch, begging for affirmation. You fear her pulling away more than you fear betraying yourself. And that's how the test ruins you, because she was never asking you to be perfect. She was asking, do you belong to yourself? Can you hold your truth when it costs you her approval? Can you tell her no without trembling? Can you love her deeply without losing your own ground? The immature anima seduces you with promises of peace through fusion. Just merge, just agree, just say yes to her moods and everything will be okay. That's not peace. That's erasure. That's the nice guy myth, the man who thinks love is earned through disappearing. But real peace, it happens when a man becomes vertical. When his spine is not for sale, when his love is deep but his center is non-transferable. That's when she feels it, that ancient thing, that rare thing, that gravitational presence. And that's when the tests stop. Not because she's finished, but because she sees something she can't shake. This man cannot be moved by storms, not because he's numb, but because he knows his own weather. While, but marriage? Devotion? No. Not unless she feels the ground you walk on is solid, not just for her, but for yourself. Because that's the secret. She's not looking for someone to walk ahead of her or behind her. She's looking for someone who stands firm beside her. And if you can't hold your own center, if you're looking to her to be your foundation, she will instinctively recoil. Not because she's cruel, but because deep down she knows it's not safe. She tests not to destroy, but to reveal. And what she reveals is what kind of man you are when no one is clapping. When there's no audience, when she's distant, doubtful, or even disappointed. That's when your real self comes through. And if all she finds is a shell, a man who performs strength but falls apart under pressure, then the test did its job. It didn't fail. You did. Carl Jung didn't just warn us about this dynamic. He mapped it. He told us that a man's journey is one of integration, that we all begin fragmented, wearing masks to survive. But at some point, if we want to be whole, we must face the parts of ourselves we disowned, repressed, or ran from. And most of the time, those parts come back in the form of women who trigger us, awaken us, or test us. It's not about romantic relationships. It's about transformation. And if you view her behavior as a nuisance rather than an invitation, you miss the point entirely. She's not the enemy. She's the mirror. And that silence you hear after she pulls away, that's not rejection. That's the void waiting for your truth to echo back. But here's the paradox. Your truth isn't loud. It doesn't yell. It doesn't beg. It doesn't perform. It just is. And you only find it when you stop chasing validation and start owning your value. Let's make this real. Think about a time she grew cold, withdrew, challenged you with her tone or her distance. What did you do? Did you try to explain yourself to death? Did you promise her more than you could deliver? Did you lose sleep trying to decode her texts, trying to win back her affection? That wasn't love. That was fear. And fear is a terrible leader. You don't lead with fear. You lead with presence, with groundedness, with a kind of stillness that doesn't need to prove itself. The kind of stillness that says, I am here. I am whole. And whether you come closer or step away, I do not disappear. That's the containment Jung spoke of. Not control, not dominance. Containment. The ability to hold space for chaos without becoming chaotic. To remain in yourself even when the world or the woman shifts. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't want to be stronger than you. But if she feels like she has to be, she'll lose respect. Not because she wants control, but because deep down she wants to relax, to surrender. But how can she, if you crumble every time she pokes the edges of your strength? Understand this. Every time she tests you, she's unconsciously asking, can I trust you to remain? Not to fix me, not to rescue me, but to hold your own no matter how wild I get. If the answer is no, if you fall into panic or pleading, then she knows she's alone. And no matter how much she might care for you, she cannot thrive in that kind of dynamic. This is why being nice isn't enough. Niceness without strength is manipulation. It's a performance. And the feminine sees through it. She feels it. It doesn't land as love. It lands as fear. And fear doesn't inspire her. It burdens her. So what does it mean to stand strong? It means not taking her mood personally. It means hearing her criticism without collapsing into self-hate. It means offering your truth even if it might make her uncomfortable. It means not retreating into silence or avoidance just because she raised her voice. It means being there, fully, unapologetically, imperfectly present. That is what creates polarity. That is what builds trust. Not your charm, not your compliments, not your apologies, your presence. Jung knew this process wasn't easy. In fact, he said it was the most difficult thing a man could do. Integrate the feminine. Face the wild. Not suppress it. Not idolize it. Integrate it. Understand it without needing to control it. And here's the irony. Once you stop reacting, once you stop needing her to act a certain way so that you feel safe, she stops testing. Not because you passed, but because you've become the kind of man who no longer needs to pass. You've become real. Let's pause on that for a second. Realness. That's the rarest thing in the world today. Everyone's pretending, performing, trying to be what they think they're supposed to be. But women, especially intuitive, emotionally intelligent women, can feel the difference. She doesn't want a man who's perfect. She wants a man who's real, who knows what he believes, who can feel deeply without drowning, who can show up without shrinking, who can tell her no and still hold her hand. That's power. That's presence. That's the fire she's looking for. You don't light that fire with charm. You ignite it with integrity. And that's why she tests you. Not to break you, but to see what's beneath the surface, to peel away the mask, to strip off the performance, to find the truth of you. She doesn't want your act. She wants your anchor. And once you understand this, the game changes. You stop trying to figure her out. You stop reacting. You start listening, not to her words, but to what her energy is asking for. You hold yourself steady. You hold her steady. You stop needing to be liked and start being felt. That's when the dynamic flips. That's when she stops being the storm and becomes the sea, deep, expansive, mysterious, yes, but no longer testing. Because she senses, this man is not afraid of her depth. He's already been to his own. That's the turning point. Because now you're no longer at the mercy of her moods. You no longer see her test as rejection. You see it as a call to rise, to deepen, to remember who the hell you are. And when you meet that call, not with ego, not with bravado, but with truth, something shifts in her. You'll feel it. Her body softens. Her eyes change. The tension dissolves. Not because you fixed her, but because you showed her. She's not alone. That's what the feminine wants, beneath all the fire and fury. To not be alone. To not have to hold the entire structure of the relationship on her back. To trust that when her emotions feel like too much, she won't be punished, dismissed, or abandoned, but contained. And containment is not about being stoic or detached. It's about holding the energy, the way a riverbank holds the river. Strong, steady, without needing the water to stop moving. You don't shame her for being a storm. You simply refuse to become the chaos with her. That is masculine mastery. And here's what's wild. Once you embody that energy, not just once, but consistently, you'll find that the tests get lighter. Not because she changes, but because you did. You've moved from performing to presence, from fear to foundation, from reaction to leadership. And leadership doesn't mean controlling the relationship. It means holding the vision, the direction, the safety, the depth. You're no longer asking, what does she want me to be? You're rooted in, who am I? And what kind of love do I create from that place? That's when you stop chasing women who don't value you. That's when you stop tolerating emotional chaos as a substitute for intimacy. That's when you stop performing roles that exhaust you, and you begin living your truth. And when a woman meets that version of you, she either steps up or steps away. Not because you're too much, but because you're finally enough for yourself. That's the gift of the feminine test. Not to make you jump through hoops, but to call you into wholeness. So next time she pulls away or challenges you or questions everything, don't flinch, don't chase, don't collapse. Just breathe, return to center, and thank her silently for the opportunity. She's not your enemy. She's your initiation. Welcome it and lead.